Announcer bot is active. Rainier Leach from South Africa is PA. 65 minutes remaining in the session. James Leach from South Africa in Barbecue Bend is P1. Best lap is a 109.308. Anthony Human from Namibia in start-finish is P8. James Leach SNR from South Africa in Crowthorne Corner is P1. Best lap is a 107.815. Yuan Yemen from South Africa is P5. Best lap is a 109.926. Brandon Dos Santos in Clubhouse Bend is 4th. Best lap is a 109.853. Rainier Leach in Clubhouse Bend is P2. Best lap is a 107.823. Brandon Dos Santos is 5th. Yuan Yemen in the kink is 4th. Rainier Leach from South Africa is 2nd. James Leach SNR in Barbecue Bend is P1. Best lap is a 107.546. Adrian Goes from Namibia is P7. 60 minutes remaining in the session. Rainier Leach is P2 driving a Opel. Best lap is a 1:07.570. The qualification session is at Aldo Scribant in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. The wind speed is 11 km/h from the northeast. Brandon dos Santos is first. Brandon dos Santos is up 20.24 in Barbecue Bend. Brandon dos Santos is up 20.73 in the SEs. Brandon dos Santos improved his P1 with a 1:08.887. Brandon dos Santos is up 0.14 in Crowthorne Corner. Brandon dos Santos is up 0.24 in Clubhouse Bend. Brandon dos Santos is provisional pole with a 1:08.387. 5 minutes remaining in the session. The qualifying session is now in overtime. The race session is at Aldo Scribant in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. The wind speed is 14 km/h from the northeast. J. Cornell is P1. Rainier Leach from South Africa is P2. James Leach from South Africa is P3. James Leach SNR from South Africa is 4th. Melvin Goes from Namibia is P5. Mike McGeer from Ireland is P6. Brandon Dos Santos is 7th. Peter Grobler from South Africa is 8th. Race start. P9. Peter Grobler in the kink is P8. James Leach SNR in Crowthorne Corner is P5 driving a Opel, 0.2 behind James Leach. Peter Grobler in Jigski I Sweep is 8, 0.4 behind Brandon Dos Santos. Brandon Griesel is P11, 0.5 behind Adrian Goes. Rainier Leach on lap 2 is P3, 0.4 behind Melvin Goes. From South Africa is 8, 0.4 behind Brandon Dos Santos. Brandon Griesel from South Africa in Crowthorne Corner is P11, 0.4 behind Adrian Goes. Rainier Leach in Clubhouse Bend is 3rd, 0.3 behind Melvin Goes. Peter Grobler in the Essies is P8. Leach in start finish on lap 3 is P3, 0.4 behind Melvin Goes. Peter Grobler is 8th. Best lap is a 1:08.590. 1.409 off the fastest lap. James Leach in Jigski I Sweep is 5th, 0.5 behind James Leach SNR. Rainier Leach in the Essies is 3rd, 0.4 behind Melvin Goes. James Leach is 5th. Peter Grobler from South Africa is 8th, 0.3 behind Brandon Dos Santos. Melvin Goes in Barbecue Bend is P3, 0.3 behind Rainier Leach. James Leach in Sunset Bend is P5, 0.1 behind James Leach SNR. Adrian Goes entering the pits is P13. Peter Grobler in the Essies is P8 driving a Opel, 0.2 behind Brandon Dos Santos. Adrian Goes exiting pits. SNR is 4th driving a Opel, 0.9 behind Melvin Goes. Peter Grobler in Jixki Sweep is 8th, 0.2 behind Brandon dos Santos. James Leach SNR is P4 driving an Opel, 0.7 behind Melvin Goes. Peter Grobler is 8th driving a Opel, 0.3 behind Brandon dos Santos. Brendan Gryasel in Barbecue Bend is P10 driving an Opel, 0.5 behind Yuan Niemand. Anthony Human entering the pits is 13th. Peter Grobler in Clubhouse Bend is P8, 0.5 behind Brandon dos Santos. Anthony Human exiting pits. Brendan Gryasel is 10th, 0.4 behind Yuan Niemand. James Leach in Barbecue Bend is 5th, 0.5 behind James Leach SNR. Brendan Gryasel from South Africa is 10th, 0.4 behind Yuan Niemand. James Leach SNR is 4th, 0.3 ahead of James Leach. Brendan Gryasel in Leeuwkop Bend is 10th, 0.4 behind Yuan Niemand. James Leach SNR in Crowthorne Corner on lap 9 is 4th, 0.2 behind Melvin Goes. James Leach SNR was 0.5 faster last lap. Brendan Gryasel in Crowthorne Corner is 10th, 0.4 behind Yuan Niemand. James Leach SNR is 4th, 0.5 behind Melvin Goes. Brendan Gryasel in the Essies is 10th, 0.3 behind Yuan Niemand. James Leach SNR is P4, 0.4 behind Melvin Goes. Brendan Gryasel is P10, 0.4 behind Yuan Niemand. James Leach SNR in Sunset Bend is 4th, 0.3 behind Melvin Goes. Brendan Gryasel is 10th, 0.3 behind Yuan Niemand. James Leach SNR in the kink is P4, 0.1 behind Melvin Goes. Melvin Goes is P4, 0.1 behind James Leach SNR. James Leach in Jikski I sweep on lap 11 is 5th, 0.4 behind Melvin Goes. James Leach was 0.7 faster last lap. Melvin Goes in Clubhouse Bend is 4th, 0.3 ahead of James Leach. James Leach in Leeuwkop Bend is P5 driving a Opel, 0.4 behind Melvin Goes. Brendan Gryasel is 10th, 0.2 behind Yuan Niemand. James Leach in Barbecue Bend is 5th, 0.1 behind Melvin Goes. The leader has just finished the race. Jaco Nel from South Africa finished first. Rainier Leach finished second. James Leach SNR finished third. James Leach finished P4. Melvin Goes finished P5. Mike McDeer finished P6. Brandon Dos Santos finished P7. Peter Grobler finished 8th. Yuan Niemand finished 9th. Brendan Gryasel finished P10. Adrian Goes finished 12th. Anthony Human from Namibia finished P13. Joshua Raby finished 11th. Ricky from Italy is P14. The race session is at Aldo Scribant in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. The wind speed is 7 km/h from the north-northeast. Jay Connell from South Africa is P1. Rainier Leach from South Africa is P2. James Leach SNR from South Africa is P3. James Leach from South Africa is P4. Melvin Goes from Namibia is 5th. Mike McGeer from Ireland is 6th. Brandon Dos Santos is 7th. Race start. Is 8th. Brendan Gryasel from South Africa in Barbecue Bend is 10th. Anthony Human from Namibia in Sunset Bend is 13th. James Leach in Leeuwkop Bend is P3. Rainier Leach in the Kink is P7. Brendan Gryasel in Crowthorne Corner is P9, 0.1 behind Adrian Goes. Peter Grobler from South Africa in Jigski I Sweep is 10, 0.5 behind Brendan Gryasel. Yuan Yemen from South Africa in Sunset Bend is P12, 0.4 behind Joshua Raby. Yuan Yemen is now P10. Rainier Leach in the Essies is 11th, 0.1 behind Brandon Dos Santos. Rainier Leach lost P11 to Joshua Raby. Melvin Goes is 3rd, 0.3 behind James Leach. James Leach was 0.8 faster last lap. Peter Grobler in Crowthorne Corner is P7, 0.4 behind Brendan Gryasel. Melvin Goes is P3, 0.4 behind James Leach. Peter Grobler in the Essies on lap 3 is 7th, 0.5 behind Brendan Gryasel. Brandon Dos Santos on lap 3 is 10th, 0.3 behind Adrian Goes. Brandon Dos Santos passed Adrian Goes for 9th. Adrian Goes in start-finish on lap 3 is 10th battling Rainier Leach. Adrian Goes lost P10 to Rainier Leach. Joshua Raby is P13, 0.2 behind Anthony Human. Peter Grobler in Clubhouse Bend is P7 driving a Opel, 0.5 behind Brendan Gryasel. James Leach SNR is 4th, 0.4 behind Melvin Goes. Peter Grobler in start-finish is P7, 0.3 behind Brendan Gryasel. Brandon Dos Santos is P10, 0.1 behind Rainier Leach. Brandon Dos Santos passed Rainier Leach for 9th. James Leach SNR is 4th, 0.4 behind Melvin Goes. Peter Grobler is P7, 0.3 behind Brendan Gryasel. James Leach SNR in start-finish is P4, 0.3 behind Melvin Goes. Peter Grobler is 7th, 0.2 behind Brendan Gryasel. Brandon Dos Santos in Crowthorne Corner is P10 driving a BMW 325 is 0.2 behind Rainier Leach. James Leach SNR from South Africa is P4, 0.3 behind Melvin Goes. Yuan Niemand in Clubhouse Bend is P9, 0.3 behind Rainier Leach. James Leach SNR is 4th, 0.2 behind Melvin Goes. Peter Grobler in Crowthorne Corner is P7, 0.3 behind Brendan Gryasel. Brandon Dos Santos in Barbecue Bend is P10, 0.3 behind Yuan Niemand. James Leach SNR in the Essies is 4th, 0.3 behind Melvin Goes. Peter Grobler is P7. James Leach SNR on lap 8 is 4th, 0.1 behind Melvin Goes. Brandon Dos Santos in Barbecue Bend is 10, 0.5 behind Yuan Niemand. James Leach SNR in Leo Cop Bend is 4th driving a Opel, 0.4 behind Melvin Goes. Brandon Dos Santos in the Essies is 10th, 0.3 behind Yuan Niemand. Brandon Dos Santos passed Yuan Niemand for P9. James Leach SNR is P4, 0.1 behind Melvin Goes. Melvin Goes in Clubhouse Bend is P4 driving a BMW 325 is. James Leach SNR in the Kink is P4. Anthony Human entering the pits is P13. Jigski I sweep on lap 10 is P5, 0.8 behind James Leach SNR. James Leach SNR in the Essies is 4th driving a Opel, 0.5 behind Melvin Goes. Joshua Raby in Crowthorne Corner is P12, 0.3 behind Adrian Goes. Joshua Raby passed Adrian Goes for 11th. James Leach SNR in Crowthorne Corner is P4, 0.5 behind Melvin Goes. From South Africa in Sunset Bend is 8th, 1.0 behind Rainier Leach. James Leach SNR is 4th driving an Opel, 0.4 behind Melvin Goes. Is P5. Best lap is a 1:08.190. 1.028 off the fastest lap. Has just finished the race. Jake O'Neill finished P1. Adrian Goes finished 12th. James Leach finished 2nd. Melvin Goes finished 3rd. James Leach SNR finished P4. Mike McGeer finished P5. Brendan Gryasel finished P6. Rainier Leach finished 7th. Peter Grobler finished 8th. Brandon Dos Santos finished 9th. Yuan Yemen finished 10th. Anthony Human finished P13. Joshua Raby finished P11.